flash, which is going to be the paranoia of Zom. So if you're looking for openers, you're going to have to do well taking your map control, and you basically need your stars to shine. This is a map where Sinatra switches off his Sova for a very good reason. Sure, it's not that popular on the map, but also he absolutely bangs it when he switches up his agents. And he is going to start things off very, very well on the Raze. It is the first kill of the entire map, and we are underway, right?
Blocking sight.
The third map of the series would be Bind, which would be super interesting considering we've seen neither team here for months at this point. So many changes have happened since. The execute is going to come in on the side of Sentinelvs, though. The player's pushing through mid. Player one, I love this position that he's in. He's trying to face even more, but literally gets face to face with Sinatra at this point. Sick, walling up, we see that a lot. He's coming through, but already damage is done before the plant is even going to come in from Sick.
Planted.
Making a play. Interesting, he moved over from the Silver to the Omen.
Oh, Mikhail, 14 HP, and it's going to be his counterpart to take him down. It will be the first round going the way of Sentinels, and this is what there's a few maps where we look at them differently within EU and NA, but this one I think is fairly evidently gone over to the defensive side. We see a lot of stronger defensive side halves coming out on this map in general. So realistically, that's what I'm going to be facing on. I think there's going to be a lot of aggressive plays into mid that we can expect to come out from the Sentinels here, and investing into this round. These Zoms be the only one to manage to get the Phantom. Obviously Shazam looking to try and save up as much credits as humanly possible. And what the defense, as well as I know as well, that if mid's going to be a high point of contention, that's where you send your stack.
One player remaining.
Turned into a deathmatch server there for a second, but such is the impact of Sentinels on attack. It is two very early rounds. Now the big buys are going to come in. The economy is going to be more than okay for Sentinels at this point. Pretty much won the last two rounds. Not flawlessly, but without very little casualties at least. They almost have a showstopper available to go for Sinatra, so maybe some pressure being made to try and grab that orb, execute onto the site. The spike is over there, and Spike, much like before, would be the planter of the spike onto a site to get the ult charges. We'll do something similar with a Sage to get resurrect up as much as possible.
Ready? Shazam to get the opener. Player one gaining some information. I don't think they expected him to be here. Didn't check properly. But it is only going to be a trade. You mentioned the showstopper, and here it goes. So now trying to clear out the whole site, but missed. The player has managed to sneak through the background. This is something they desperately need to clear. And player one doing his survivalist role almost perfectly. He does, however, have to be very careful. A lot of pressure coming in onto his position, but he drops the spike. And still with a player at the back of the site, he should really be coming under more pressure, but I guess it's just Sit kind of relying on the fact that they don't check him at this point to maybe steal a kill or two, and he eventually gets it through. At the same time, though, he is still stuck in this corner. The spike, in the meantime, has gone rotating all the way back around. Now, could realistically make a play in towards the A site. That might be easier said than done, although I think it's going to be his only choice at this point. It still seems like Dapper, however, is looking for that clutch, wanting to try and pick the two different players, and may not even realize that his opponent is sat in the corner. He's going to spot him out. He even tags him at the end, even though he sat right behind him. And Gen.G, it's close, but they do get their first round.
Similar themes and stuff happening. Certainly when it comes to Ascent, just they have the plays, but Gen.G kind of expect these certain executes to come out, so they play around it. Expected an aggressive push to come out of Sentinels with the Sage Ball and the Showstopper on B. So player one just hid in an angle that it would take them so long to check, the ultimate wouldn't be available. It's just Gen.G have done their research and have anti-strats all up the wazoo at this point for Sentinels. Luckily, Sentinels still have money, still going to be able to buy for this round. And you would expect at this point so much space to be taken from the Raze and Cypher on this attack. Player one already put on the back foot when it comes to the pressure, and there's more even happening in mid.
Something I learned from the matches yesterday is that Hwin doesn't often have two quieter games. It's a rarity. this is a map, sorry, that really does work well for aggressive jet players. Now, the spike's already dropped. That's so much information to Gen.G. It's going to be Zombs looking to try and retrieve it, and actually, he gets away with a kill. I didn't even think they'd trade him, but eventually, they come back through, and well, win. Timing could be perfect, but then again, Sinatra expecting somebody to be watching the edge of the smoke, and GMD will close the round.
I mean, there was somebody there. It was just unlucky timing at that point. Save has to come in from the attackers. Bladestorm is available, and Shazam likes to use this ultimate more so when he's saving or half buying rather than on a full buy, because of course he can make the most out of it there. GMD with the rolling thunder is going to play the back of the A site, which is looking to be hit from Sentinels here. They do this super quickly, similar to how Andbox push with the double blast pack, putting a lot of pressure on ramp very early with the raise, dashing in with the jet. Would expect to see something similar, but of course without the lack of guns, might not be as strong.
Off your feet!
That fault line has denied a lot of players, but it didn't quite stop Shazam. It doesn't matter though. GMD is still going to get the opening nonetheless. And in fact, the attacking side have almost been completely halted. They're stuck back towards heaven. A one-way smoke giving at least a little bit, but well, maybe not so much of a one-way after all. Sinatra finds a kill, hit the singer. However, it doesn't seem to matter. A nigh-on flawless round with only one loss for Gen.G. And this is the thing that really does interest me, because obviously we haven't seen their split with this current roster. And as you mentioned earlier, we have seen a few agent chains coming in for them, but this really has been an almost complete change in what we've seen them play previously. Obviously, Mikhail, I think the last time they played was actually on a Phoenix. That's not the case anymore. GMD, he was on a Reyna. Obviously, then Effie's was on the Omen. So they've just opted to switch like multiple different players just for this map, especially even in comparison to other maps where GMD is the one playing Omen. So something that there's no way Sentinels could have ever been prepared for, that's for sure. The question is their standard enough to beat out Gen.G, which, let's be real, versus most teams is definitely enough.
Early pressure put in from Sentinels and Sinatra. This aftershock could actually get quite a lot with all of the smokes here and all of the stunts. It could have easily cut out Sinatra, but player one, he's been amazing so far, anchoring both the A and B sites. Mikhail is still on the ground.
You will not kill my
The resurrect is going to come through, but Mikhail has been there waiting. Two of the easiest frags that he'll be able to have. Gen.G have just done such a job passively picking their fights, and now it's all up for Dapper to clutch in this 1 versus 2. Is capable, he has his ultimate, gets one kill, uses it, finds out where the other one is, can make a play, but Gen.G's movement is just so clutch here.
That could be all the information he needs. The possibility of 2 individual fights. But I like this from Gen.G. They are not peeking whatsoever. Just waiting patiently.
30 seconds
even
left.
with the plant going down,
planted.
they're happy to just wait. They're going to wait until they basically meet up. Fight this one together. It's going to be coming in from Huynh. He spots out his opponent, but at the same time, he doesn't actually have a gun. So he needs to try and bait for it. And Dapper lines them both up. 2 instant headshots. I said he had a little bit of a quieter map in the last and is known for his individual skill. Well, that's a clutch to bring things home for the Sentinels.
A little bit of luck, them lining up like that, but just the way that he played around it was pure skill. Dapper is just so good in clutches, though. And certainly going into this game, I was comparing him and Player 1. Player 1 used to play the Omen and Brimstone for Gen.G, played 2,000 official rounds in the game, has 300 on Cypher. There's still a lot to learn comparing him to Dapper, who has been playing Cypher since day 1. And Player 1 is top fragging. He's having the game of his life so far. It would be perfect right now. Huynh just whiffs the drop, though. Sinatra's going to keep on pushing, but Sean actually moves to the help and rescue. All Huynh is doing is just putting a little bit of pressure in here, but so much utility is thrown, and just look at the way that Gen.G are holding this. Not only surviving Sentinels' real sharp aggression, but getting a frag too.
Oh, Huynh eventually. You give him a couple of opportunities. Well, let's slip away. One thing I will mention, I'm pretty sure the maps thing is now wrong, right? Because Gen.G are 9-0, but shouldn't Sentinels have lost 2? Just a tip. Add that in for someone pedantic. to maybe to Well, no, because it's maps. It's not matches. It's maps.
Oh, I know.
Wait, good position from Mikhail. He is going to spray things down. There we go. Look, they just updated it.
Wow.
I was right. Bombs.
Thanks, Dead Street Gamers.
1v4.
30 seconds
very
left.
quick production. I'll give them the credit where it's due. That was lightning fast. In fact, people hearing me say it might not have even seen it by the time they fixed it. So there you go.
I didn't notice it. Really, is it too much to talk about? Zombs is just going to save this gun. The spike is well over in A, watched by 3 different people in 3 different angles. However,
10 seconds left.
Could maybe catch out Zombs here, and even now the economy. It's just a game of where they could just keep hurting Sentinels for their money. Hit them where it hurts. Another round for Gen.G to maintain a lead. Sentinels trading rounds in the best ways at least, but still a long way to go. More ultimates coming online. Sean is ready to go with the showstopper. Much quieter start to split than certainly was on Ascent. But there's still plenty to work with. Sinatra yet again, almost good to go with a showstopper. A lot of pressure going towards A. They might execute, they might just try and play a bit more slowly, but that's the great thing about playing Raze, just a double blast pack. You could be by A screens within a couple of seconds. The breach is there though, to make sure that that just doesn't happen.
Feeling confident off the back of the operator. Willing to fight this many a time. He's not quite got back around the corner. And that wall is something that is very wall bangable. You are not safe hiding in mid. That's a hell of a lot of damage though. And unfortunately for him, the Sage is on the other side. So there will be no healing coming through for the defense of Gen.G. Actually, the attacking side are more than happy just gaining early map control. In fact, we're actually going to see the push coming all the way through. However, I do wonder if they're just going to use this tripwire as a fake. They've broken that. That's Shazam. Now, this is something a lot of teams will do regularly. You break that, and then you go back towards the B side. The thing is, though, it doesn't seem like the defense have fallen this whatsoever. However, it's a lot onto Sean, and he gets absolutely nothing. Bear in mind that his teammate, in the form of Quinn, was already very, very low. So he could not fight this at all. It will be an afterplan.
Player 1's still got his utility set up. It will break now. The retake's going to commit, and the Gen.G seem quite happy to do. Quinn actually gets a kill. He's been whipping his shots all throughout the round, but he's able to get such a key frag. Sick is on slightly different. There isn't too much to really work with. Blast alive. Straightforward. Gen.G just know how to pick their fights and how to go about it. 5-3 was pretty much a half buy at most for Sentinels, but now at least Sinatra's good to go with that showstopper. But I'd like to see them play around these ultimates a bit more. It's typically what you expect of Sentinels, the right kind of rolling thunder, the right kind of entry into a site. Showstopper is perfect for that, but it seems that Sentinels can't really string it all together in the way that we usually expect from them, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on this map, that they are currently on the attacking side, and I think it is one of, if not the toughest side of any map to play currently within the pool, so
definitely. To
see them even grind out like 5 rounds here would still be a pretty decent scoreline going into the second half. Although they did win the pistol, which, take it as you will. However, I'm sure after going 3-3, they wouldn't be too happy with that one. Once again, we're going to see Huyn fighting for mid. I am liking this sort of double duo of him and Sean. It's a terrifying prospect if they both manage to hit their stride going forward, and then the rest of the team almost just acting as supportive elements, trying to slow everybody down. That is a fantastic paranoia, though. However, Sean has just gone, go on then, come up here. I dare you. I dare you. It doesn't mean anything for the ultimate, but it has at least made sure that his teammate survives.
It's a really nice set play.
Here.
They've walled off ropes at least on mid, so they want to push as soon as possible because the rotation is coming in from Gen.G. Now this is going to be Sinatra. He gets hit by Quinn before the rocket gets fired off. Quinn misses so many shots, but always hits the ones that he really needs to hit. This is so good from him. Sean has a really nice position. Quinn even better though. The rocket taking his fights, and it's just
30
Zombs
seconds
in this
left.
corner, just staring how he's that spike never might get to the side. What play from Quinn there?
That is so ballsy. Like, I think like 9 out of 10 players in that situation just go, good luck, Sean. I'm going to see you later. I'm going to go on the rotation back around. And he's like, don't worry, bro. I've got this. Takes the aggressive peek. What a sick shot as well, because that's it. That's all or nothing. If he misses that shot, we know for a fact that Sinatra is just going to wreck him with the ultimate as well. The showstopper will not show any mercy in this case, but ultimately, that just completely floors the round for them. The rest of the team get wrecked on their cross through, and sort of mentioned it earlier that the investment into a single flash, it's really, really reliant on your openers playing well. And thus far, they've been a little bit quiet. Again, it's this man on the defensive side. It's Huynh to kick things off. Sure, this round, slightly less invested, but if he's feeling it with an operator, that is a truly terrifying prospect. Because as said in the last, it's rare that he has 2 quiet maps. And while he wasn't exactly carrying them in the last one, I think we can give that one down to Sean as playing really well alongside GMD. But realistically, this map, he has been finding them opener after opener. Player 1 has been... Well, actually, it's been the rotation of both Mikhail and Player 1 between the 2 different sites that we've seen them constantly switching up their defensive setup. So one round it will be Mikhail on B, then he'll be on A, and vice versa. Like it's quite impressive to see them make it so successful as well, constantly having all their utility in different places.
Yes, this should do.
Get out of my way!
Storm's going to come out on the side of Shazam, and he gets a frag opening onto Huynh. It's nice play, and this is the fast execute that you love to see. And this would be the second plant that's coming from Sentinel so far. But they've only managed to get that spike planted twice in 10 rounds now. 11th round this one.
Planted.
Sinatra's created so much space for himself, has no utility left though, and is about to face the 2 people that are pushing. Can't even get one frag. Player 1 is just
everyone hiding
on an absolute winning streak with these fights. No effect is going to show up exactly where this first plant is going to be held from Sentinel, so they might need to change up their position. And GMD getting that first frag and flashing onto the site, and opening this come in, but look at 6th position, and he's not going to be beaten out by it. The blast pack is actually super good from Sean just to avoid that, and he even gets to pick up the Shazam. Mikhail was killed onto the high ground. Trying to heal, but he's taking damage. GMD works on through. It's just... What a round.
What a sick retake as well. Like, because that round looked like one that was basically over, Ryan, at least in the initial stages of it. That was an early entry, a 5-on-4, an after plant situation, and well, just as it's hard to get into the sites, it's very hard to retake them as well. The only thing I will say, which I'm just being a bit pedantic, but obviously Sinatra's aggression there, you kind of have to feel like if you hold on to that 5v4, you probably have a better scenario. Now, in most cases, probably does get a kill, but this is the time he doesn't, and this is the time that potentially they lose the round because of it.
Here.
More spread across the map at this point, a Sentinel.
Get out of my way!
Resurrect is good to go on the attack too. They might play a bit more aggressively with this raise as they're peeking towards, but player 1 has been so hard to move no matter what site he's played on, and he switched around quite a bit. When he's in mids, hasn't quite spotted the player that's with him. Shazam is in that corner, picks up, but again, clinical. Sinatra's broken his way onto the B side. Tripwire has been broken by the boom ball. The punch should go in. Sean's going to get some damage in, but mostly gets hit himself at this point. It's a 4 versus 4 retake. The rolling thunder is going to come through. It's much more aggressive up the side of Gen.G. Mikhail's the first to get the frag onto this retake, clearing as many angles as possible. But Sentinels are completely spread out. You
will not kill my ally.
Managed to get the resin, but I don't think it matters. They've got the defuse almost all the way already. And I'm actually blown away with how impressive some of these retakes have been from Gen.G. They've taken a 9-3 half after losing the pistol in second round. So for anybody who can't do the math there, they lost 1 round in the entirety of the buys. Now we do have some replays from the half, which will be coming up, of course, brought to you by GoPuff. And you can get a cheeky little discount if you are going to be using the code NerdStreet. So make sure you do that. You know, it supports NerdStreet, and you get a discount on food. So I don't really see where there's a loss in there. But nonetheless, this is what I mean. This was what, 3-2. This was a position where we kind of look. No, in fact, it was 3-3. Yeah, because there was the clutch that came out from Dapper. From then onwards, they didn't win another round. And a lot of it came down to this man, Win, having a phenomenal half, but I think a lot of it came down to those last couple of retakes, and both of them started with Sentinels having a man advantage.
Can you imagine with all of the beef between Sentinels and TSM, neither of them actually going through? At least they're both qualified for the closed tournament, but it would just be funny that they wouldn't get this far in the open bracket. It's more of a bloodbath on here. Sentinels are defended, but Gen.G could go 10-3 up here. It's a 3 versus 2. Luckily, Snapper's still alive. Just trying to spray with a frenzy, just to catch anything. It's so important on these pistols to at least chip away this armor that they might have, or just do as much damage as they possibly can. And this retake position, this post plant, isn't ideal from Gen.G, who are mostly still stuck on the site, other than player 1 who wants to try and wrap around to the high ground, but there is going to be a wall there to stop them. In that time, Dapper's got the first kill. He's got to try and run all the way to the site to stop it, but Sinatra knows that he's coming, even puts the grenade in the right position. Much better from Sentinels, but still iffy because Gen.G still do quite a lot of damage to them.
I love explosions.
Yeah, if anything, I think Gen.G probably should have won that round. Like that was a 2v3 retake where Sinatra just happens to get a triple kill. Like, great retake from the remaining 2 players, and finally starting to see some of the stars step up on this Sentinels roster. And this is the weird thing. Like, we go onto a map where you definitely can pull out a ridiculous amount of defensive rounds. It's not beyond possibility. I'm still just waiting for that moment where Sentinels sort of step up. Because I was expecting it in the last map. There were probably some people going, well, this guy's kind of hyping up Sentinels a bit. They're the best team in North America, or were, when they sort of left after all the Ignition Series events. Now, well, it's looking like they're struggling a little bit here. And again, we're going to see an aggressive push onto the side. Dapper only has a pistol, and so does Win. But this is where the slaughter begins. KO only going to be able to get 1. I'm sure it's a little bit of extra damage, but ultimately there wasn't a huge amount invested into that round from the Sentinels. So I do wonder if we're going to see them invest a little bit more into this one. And in fact, straight away, Shazam is onto his operator. And I'm hoping we see a bit more from him. Something else, just a note, Dapper got 4 of his kills in 1 round, and he is on 5.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Yikes.
That goes there.
Did a good job there. Gen.G's life will live in hell to try and execute onto the site. The operator that you mentioned is over on A. There is a bit of presence. Player 1's probably going to lurk in this position, but for the fact that the spike is towards B, I would expect that's the general direction that Gen.G want to go. A lot of teams will push through mid with the spike just to make sure that that rotation doesn't take too long, and if they do die, they don't need to try and pick it up from some of the extremities. But early pressure from Gen.G, really patient play, and considering how heavy their executes were on Ascent on their attack, this is where I'm concerned about them a little bit. Granted, they are 9-5 up, but when they don't necessarily have a game plan and they just want to sort of riff and see what they could do, I think this is an area the Sentinels can certainly beat them to it.
Come to expect a lot, that's for sure. Going to need to see some of the stars of the Sentinels arise to the occasion. Sure, it's for seeding, but it's important seeding at that. Sinatra just jiggle peeking, looking for information, has his paint shell in hand, and will look to just do some damage as they push through. In fact, goes for the wide peek afterwards, and, well, Mikhail will just about escape with his life. He's looking to try and sneak his way through. Sam, he's going to go down.
30 seconds
this
left.
Could be a big problem. Now he has the paranoia going into the back of the site, looking to let his team lead the way through. It's a bit of a whiff, but eventually Quinn will get things over the line. It's left onto Zoms, and he has no choice. He's just got to save that operator. It's something that needs to be brought into the next round, and honestly, I have no idea how Mikhail survives this round. Like, that's the biggest thing for me, Ryan. How is he alive right now with what he just attempted?
Facing up against Sinatra and Shazam, and both just can't get those kills. They just look so low on confidence at the moment, and you would expect those 2 players to be clicking the heads of everybody that they need to beat out. So Gen.G 10-5 up. I imagine that the money for Sentinels is not going to be great. They do have that operator that Zoms is going to keep a hold of. They do have a showstopper to break onto a site very quickly in case the money is that bad. But this is so comfortable from Gen.G. Like, I keep mentioning it, but I'm so impressed with even how different they look from the Renegades Nerd Street Gamers tournament last weekend. They went out to Moon Raccoons and just looked so uninspired, so slow. It just wasn't very good to look at. You would expect a good amount from Gen.G. They've always been the top 10 team for sure, but the difference between then and now is exceptional.
Well, just to add to this as well, for anybody who's wondering, this is not double elimination. There's no second lives, other than I guess you could call the closed qualifier. We'll be out of this open bracket at least with a top 8 seeding, but not what we've come to expect from Sentinel. Staffer about to come under pressure. His cam left blind, and now he's being pushed. Sinatra looking to try and support him. Going to try and use the showstopper, but it's to no prevail. Doesn't get anything done whatsoever. And in the meantime, the attackers have managed to get control of the site, although it's definitely not ideal. A little bit close from the boom bomb, but in fact, 6 falls. The trade coming back to the Kavah. Shazam needs to do something with this operator, and it's going to be GMD to put things firmly in the favor of Gen.G. Another round on the board. Sentinels. I'm going to be honest, like, I think it's got to the point where I've been believing all the way through. I've been sat there, Ryan, going like, this will be the moment, right? Now they'll step up. Okay, sure, you've been kidding me this whole time, Sentinels. I'm ready now. Now you're going to perform. I think they're out.
Could be looking to go to match point at least. Look at that buy for Sentinels. It's not good. They don't have many ultimates other than a Resurrect and a Neural Theft, maybe. Shazam maybe wants to grab an ult orb to get a Blade Storm out because he's just running with a frenzy at the moment. And even though Gen.G have a pretty hefty lead, their economy isn't ideal either. If they lose this round, they might have to save, but the Rolling Thunder is going to be used on this attack. Create Gen.G a little bit of space, but Sinatra's angle is good. He's let one go. Now he's got to do some damage in, but can only get 1. If he had a bigger gun, that's easily 2 kills. Sean has done more damage in that sense because now it's a 4 versus 3. The spike is going to get planted. Gen.G been so much better at this than Sentinels were in their attack. Such a pivotal Sentinels retake that they just need to go for.
Managed to gain a little bit of ground and 2 quick kills come in for them. Res into Dapper makes this more than possible, and somehow it's now left all on to player 1. Surely there's no way he brings this back. A lifeline for the Sentinels. They found a round out of very little. Zombs getting 3 kills definitely helped them along the way. And they desperately needed a round like that, Ryan.
Could be the start of something good with any luck, but I mentioned that Gen.G wouldn't have the best buy. They can still kind of afford, but Sean is going to be running a Stinger, which is fine because he has the showstopper. Might just blast back into somebody's face, sting at them, or rocket launch them, pick up their gun and go with that. Yeah, I'm going to put a lot of pressure towards mid more than the A or B mains. And they might even line up. Yeah, like look at the Omen on the attack. Paranoia lineup is good, but I think Sentinels are kind of aware that that's a play that they can easily do. They're just playing on the sites completely. Not good for main at all. Sinatra's angle's good, but they just know that he's going to be there. Sinatra.
See you later. Sinatra's out, and now it's left onto the sole defender of Dapper to try and hold the line. He started off strong with 10 HP, and actually, he's still going. Another kill for him. Shazam even chiming in as well. It comes down to a 2 versus 1. Zoms stop them hitting 12, stop them hitting map point. And he's in a pretty good position. He's still got his Paranoia available. A little bit of dark cover wouldn't go amiss. And there goes the Paranoia. The peak comes out straight away from player 1, though. He's not going to allow for any Omen funny business. Gen.G, they hit map and series point. It has to be a 6-round streak from Sentinels, Ryan, just to stay in this series.
The round felt so weird from Sentinels. I understand, you know, don't fight on mid, don't fight on heaven. They have a showstopper. Just let them use all of that utility to get to a site, and then we'll deal with it. And then Sinatra kind of goes on his own, just is tentative about pushing, gets caught out in the smoke. It's more unfortunate than anything, but it just shows how indecisive Sentinels are in some cases. Going to be pushing a lot more on mid this time, but this execute's going to be electric from Gen.G. Shazam is flashed, and he is going to be hunted down with with that ult.
Lucky sight.
Zoms just doesn't get his shots at all. They should at least get the frag. Sean's up in his own
One
center.
player standing.
It is done. Sinatra, 1 versus 5 to keep them in this open bracket. They will be back for the close one, but for now the door is closed on Sentinel. It is Gen.G, a swift 2-0. 11 rounds is all they get over 2 matches.